Gurmila Magas Cahirlach, and also just to acknowledge how you've spoken so well of your own experience, and hopefully that means an awful lot to people listening today as well. Minister, this is an historical day. This birth and tracing bill means that all adopted children can now access records. And as you have said very clearly, in all cases, any child that's born in Ireland that was sent abroad is part of this legislation. That is absolutely crucial. The law that we make today is having such an impact on so many people's lives, and I just want to acknowledge the people who are with us today in the Seanad, in the houses of the Oireachtas, but also to everyone who's watching us here as well. How we can offer some justice. And it's justice for the abuse and for the stigma and the shame, Minister, that has led to these illegal birth registrations. It begins with an apology from the state, but we need practical help and support, and that's what this bill begins to do, to provide access. And this impact is for women and children, mainly. It was women back in the 40s and 50s that had to endure incredible ignominy and shame, and that led to our society and to families and institutions, living their lives out in shame. And we need to stand up now, and with the Minister, the apology that has been given, to stand up and to shine a light. And that's what has been done, and it's been a very difficult process. The Minister here, I know, has visited, for example, Tuam, Mother and Baby's Home. The Minister has given time to people. It has been an extremely harrowing process for the people involved, for families involved. But I suppose one thing I want to say is that so many people have come forward, have engaged with many processes, but I very much think about people who have not yet spoken. I very much think about families, they're older men and women that have never spoken about this. And I suppose I'm just very conscious that for anyone that is listening, that there are supports through the HSE and Connect counselling, and that counselling is nearly always the first step to how we engage with this. And this bill, again, Minister, speaks about counselling. We have a bill here that is to correct the birth register, to have an accurate record, that there is a tracing service delivered by the state, that there will be genealogical expertise available. I want to very much acknowledge the pre-legislative scrutiny by colleagues here in the Seanad, by the Dáil as well, and the amendments that you've brought forward, Minister, and that you've taken into account. The balance that has to be struck here with parents' preference, and how, in its essence, what is so crucial about this bill, in some ways, in a very practical way, is access to medical information. Very much so. Access to medical information for people who have never had that. Minister, in your bill you speak about next of kin. So many may be deceased at this stage, but brothers, sisters, cousins, nephews and nieces, I know, is also mentioned. With this law, it means that Tusla and the Adoption Authority very clearly can request, and you have stated and underlined here, must provide government departments and religious organisations will have to share information, and I very much note that that is underlined. The Succession Act as well, Minister, that you've mentioned, to balance inheritance rights between the adopted family. Minister, if I can ask a question, I know that with the O'Mahony report that there are a number of adoptions, illegal birth registrations that have been flagged as suspicious by Tusla. And I know that there's a specialised team that is probably looking at those files, but I just would like to ask if there's any other further comment that you might be able to give around that. It is a case that so many of the people that so many people are older, so many people have passed away. How are we going to ensure and guarantee just that the access of that information? And I don't underestimate the acceleration with your department, with your officials, with your teams, the engagement, the public consultations, that's all been happening over the last couple of years. But it's been to really ensure that we have something available as quickly as possible for people that are living that need that support right now. Minister, I want to thank you for your apology. It is one of those things that when I read that report, and one point that stuck with me was just the high rate of infant mortality in the 40s and 50s, the absolute shocking rate of infant mortality, and that at that time that there was just that there was no comfort given in some of these homes, and that was really what struck me. And right now, Minister, your role as our representative, as a government representative, for all of us as public representatives, is to give that comfort to families now. Gurmila Magat.